my fellow Americans, this is former President Barack Hussein Obama, and you're listening to the Mad Titan Podcast. Please be sure to support this young brother from Chicago, Jay Washington, because he's a funny bastard. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington.
What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It is episode 58 of the Mad Titan Podcast with me, your resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington. What's going on? How's everybody feeling, people? Hope you all are staying healthy, safe, and sane throughout all of this that is going on. I know it's a lot on a lot of people. Many people are into their 30 days in the quarantine. Some are in the 45. Some others are hitting damn near 50. And so right now, this can be a very, even more stressful moment than it was in the beginning. Cabin fever is a real thing, and I know people are like, well, you should be okay with cabin fever. People are dying out here. I get that, and I'm never going to dismiss that. But also, you have to take in consideration there are people who are still alive who are like, they've never had to deal with this. And people will bring up stuff back in the, 1920s and all this stuff, and like, you can't. These are two completely different times. These are different people, different mindsets. So you have to take all of this into consideration. Yes, people losing their lives is something to definitely take into consideration. People who want to, whether it's not just go to work, I'm not saying a full sense of normalcy, but people who want to go to work, all those different things, we have to take them all into consideration, because when we say we're all in this together, a lot of us don't know what that means. A lot of us look at it in different ways. I can go all in depth into all that, but that ain't what this is about. If you're new to the podcast, first and foremost, thank you for coming over here and checking it out. But what we do here is I get you caught up in everything that's happening in the Marvel and DC live action and cinematic universes. It is barbershop talk for nerds. So I'm going to say some shit that might, tickle your eardrum, if you will. Some things that you may not agree with, some things you actually may. But you know what? We'll figure that out. But either way, if you're going to be in your feelings, I'll let you know ahead of time. This is the exact wrong place for you to be. All right. Don't want you in here like, man, so he said this about that, but he really meant that. Because I'm like, I don't give a shit. People who've been listening to the podcast, who've been with me over this past year and a half, who know, look, this is what Jay does. Jay keeps shit A100, and he's not going to try to dismiss anybody. So that's what you're going to get. Also, I normally have a guest on here each and every week with me, but this week I did not have anybody. So it is going to be me. Just myself. And you know what? I have zero issue with that. I would have gotten this episode out to you all earlier, but things have actually been busy in a good way. And I cannot complain with that. You know what I'm saying? So please excuse the delay on my part. For those who know me, I want to get this out to you guys. I'm trying to pick a regular day of the week. So please leave me your tweets. Leave me your Instagram posts. Let me know what is the best day you think I should drop this for you all, because I want to make sure I get this out to you guys on a regular each and every week. I've been trying to do it and trying to make sure I have a time. If I have a specific day I have to shoot for, I want to know what's best for the fans. Because that can also go what's best for me, but I like to know for the fans. So, like, whatever fans say, you guys tell me the overall majority, that'll be the day I keep this launching. So if you say, yo, we like it when it launches on a Thursday, we like it when it launches on a Friday, we like when it launches on a Monday, Tuesday, or whatever, that'll be the day you get it with the majority of votes for that, all right? So let's kick it off, as I always do, with my Marvel news. In Marvel news, first up, Sony and the third Spider-Man in the Spider-Man trilogy have once again shaken up the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, in case you hadn't heard, Spider-Man 3 was pushed back by Sony to November 5th, 2021, and it takes the place of Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. It pushes that to March 25th, 2022. Now, what that does is forces Marvel, Disney, if you will, to have to reshake up the timeline and when they release films, because Spider-Man's original date was supposed to be July 16th, 2021, and it would have been between Doctor Strange 2 and Thor 4. Now that's according to the schedule, right? But now you have to shift all this, and Thor 4 is now going to arrive a week earlier than expected on February 11th. I believe that is 2022. Yeah. So it's confusing. It's very frustrating for the fans who want to see more and want to have this, keep this journey going that we've been going through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're done with the Infinity Saga. We went through 23 movies with that, and now we're moving forward. And so a lot of us we want our craving satiated. We want that feeling like, yo, give me my shit. But now we gotta wait. So here's the current Phase 4 roster as it looks right now with this new change with Spider-Man, okay? So stick with me. Black Widow drops November 6th, 2020, this year. The Eternals, February 12th, 2021. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, May 7th, 2021. Spider-Man 3, whatever it's called, something with home in it, November 5th, 2021. Doctor Strange, Thor Love and Thunder, February 11th, 2022, and in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, March 25th, 2022. Those are dates as of right now, okay? Because also remember, I've said it before on the podcast, said it on Blurs and all other shit I talk about. You have to also match up the Disney Plus shows. You cannot just drop the Disney Plus shows whenever you want because of this. Because again, the Disney Plus shows are direct extensions of the films. So all this shit got to go together in one order, and hopefully the agreement that Sony and Disney have come to in the partnership that they have, like, yo, this is it. This is the last time we got to move these movies. Can we just keep this what it is and let's go? Now, granted that everything in the world right now has the overwhelming majority of productions at a standstill, at a halt. I will not say every single thing is at a halt because it's not. There are some things that are still secretly filming that you all don't know about. So, I mean, I know people are like, well, will you take that risk? Clearly, these productions and staff have made sure everything is in order for them to do that. But that's not what I want to harp on. But nonetheless, you have to have everything that goes in order. And so, Sony and Spider-Man, I understand this. There's this, what do we do with the characters? Sony, Spider-Man is not, he wasn't meant to be forever in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's a given. But then you have Sony who's like, well, we don't need you all anymore. Now we have a profitable Spider-Man. We can do our own thing. And it's like, well, I hate to say it this way, but the only reason this Spider-Man is profitable is because of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, a lot of people may disagree with that and say Spider-Man is his own timeless character, which he is. But when we look at the track records of Spider-Man films, the Sam Raimi trilogy, the recent Amazing Spider-Man 2 films that were supposed to lead into a Sinister Six, they've been box office successful, because of their being Spider-Man. But would you say that they were critically and audience received films? The best film, arguably, out of those is, of course, Spider-Man 2. And then people will toss up, probably put Spider-Man 1 next and maybe throw Amazing in there somewhere out of them. And then that's not even featuring when I start talking about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or even including Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home. So hopefully this schedule is set. This is locked. This is what you're getting. I really couldn't take it being shaken up anymore. All right, in other news, speaking of Spider-Man characters, Silver and Black. Now, I don't know if you all remember Silver and Black. There was a movie that was supposed to happen, and it was going to feature Silver Sable and Black Cat, right? And it was supposed to be directed by Gina Prince Bythewood. And at first it was going to happen, and then they said they were going to give them their own individual films, and now it just was like, we don't know. Well, Gina Prince Bythewood, who was the original director of the film with the duo, she was asked what she knows about the project, and from what she told, it seems it could be some rumblings on the ladies heading towards Disney Plus. Now, before I go into this, I know I'm not that dude that speculates on rumors. I'm not that dude that talks about the speculations themselves, shall I just say, instead of saying speculation of rumors. I'm the dude that's like, yo, this is happening, this is locked in, this is confirmed, and here and that, and here's some things I might not know that you'll find out later, but I might know, that you'll find out later, blah, blah, blah. But I felt it was interesting to talk about this one, because this is what Gina said, quote, I really love that project, and I do hope it can still happen in some way. It keeps going through different thoughts. First, it was going to be the two of them. Then the decision was made to separate the two. Now, there's a thought of, hey, maybe we put it on Disney Plus as a limited series. but I loved it more as a film with the two of them. So my hope is that one day it can all still happen. All right, here's how it gets confusing. Of course, that's a Sony thing. Sony also has their universe going, as I brought up their, what they're doing moving forward with Spider-Man in his universe, because Morbius comes out next year, March 2021. Venom Let There Be Carnage, June 2021. There's been talks of a Kraven the Hunter film, but now that also has been like, well, does Kraven get his own film hunting Spider-Man, or do you have Kraven go hunt T'Challa in the Black Panther film? Also, the things that are going to be on Disney Plus are, again, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not the Spider-Verse, as we're going to call it, the Sony Spider-Verse. So I don't think it's a guarantee for them to go to Disney Plus. I could see it pulling off on Hulu. I can see that, because it's not necessarily Marvel TV as the old Marvel TV, which is done, because now all of Marvel Television is under the umbrella of Marvel Studios. So it really, really makes some things happen. I mean, it's if they're brought to the small screen, what do you think? It's one of those things. We'll just have to see. All right, in my third Marvel news story, I want to start this off by saying this from the bottom of my heart. No, not that ambulance that just went past. From the bottom of my heart, from the depths of my soul, fuck We Got This Covered. If you don't know what We Got This Covered is, it is a bullshit clickbait website. Between that and Cosmic Book News, not comic book news, Cosmic Book News, they are the worst perpetrators of bullshit stories, because they know people will jump at headlines and they get the clicks, thereby raising up their ad revenue. One of the biggest bullshit stories they started was that Charlie Cox would be reprising his role as Daredevil and be Peter Parker's attorney in the upcoming Spider-Man Far From Home sequel, Spider-Man blah, 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 home, whatever it's going to be called. First off, that's not happening. Okay? That was just some shit that fans were like, yo, that would be dope to see. He needs a lawyer to prove he's not Spider-Man. He needs a Matt Murdock. Well, who else do you get to play Matt Murdock but then the dude who just solidified himself as Matt Murdock and Charlie Cox? I mean, it sounds feasible, but it's not happening. And also, here was the best part. Charlie Cox himself was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This is exactly what he said, as I quote, I hadn't heard those rumors, but it's certainly not with my Daredevil. I'm not involved with it. If that's true, it's not with me. It's with another actor. I am glad he clarified that. I hate that he had to be the one to clarify it, but I do wish this. We try to assume that people have some level of goddamn common sense. We try to assume that people have some sense of what is real and what is not. We try to assume that people can be discerning from bullshit and real shit, but clearly that is not the case. I see so many stories shared from We Got This Covered all the fucking time, with people in their feelings in the headlines, and when they share it in their post on Facebook and Twitter, like, yo, you're upset about some bullshit because you read a headline. Maybe if you checked on that source, you would know it's not a real source. It's a source for bullshit, the uttermost bullshit, but it's not a real source. And that frustrates me. There's so many people who work hard in the entertainment world, in the journalistic world of comic books and anime and sci-fi and so on and so forth, who work so hard to put out real content, substantial content, verified content, do honest journalism when it comes to these worlds. But then you have this bullshit that spits and shits on everything that people work hard to do. Fuck, We Got This Covered. Fuck the people who created it. Fuck the people who work for it. Fuck the people who try to tout it as something real. Because you all are just as much trash as that website its fucking self. I hate it with an unmitigated with just an unbridled passion. I fucking hate it so bad. I really do. That's all I got for Marvel news this week. There was so much that dropped about different things in regards to Avengers Endgame, and that could be an episode of a show, a bonus episode itself. I might do that for Patreon, but that's just way too much to talk about here on just one episode of the podcast. There's so much that came out from what different characters would have done, what were ideas, what were plans, and all these things. So that more than likely will be a Patreon episode, but I need to know from you all if you want that before I do it. Because I wouldn't mind talking it, but I need to know people are going to listen to it. All right? So let's move on to my DC news. First up, the Green Lantern HBO series will be produced by Jeff Johns. Now, a lot of people were worried about this. I was one of those people. It's like, oh shit. Because we haven't even announced which members of the Corps we're doing. From what I'm assuming, it's going to be Jessica Cruz is one of them, and I don't know if they're going to go with her partner. I can't remember his name, Simon. I can't remember directly, so please forgive me. People were like, yeah, remember when he was kind of in charge of the DCEU and, you know, comic book writers are too attached to properties, i.e. Green Lantern, the movie, and, you know, some things don't turn out right, and you're like, yeah, I get that. But the reason I peaked up and I perked up, if you will, I got a little bit of enthusiasm behind this is because I've had the pleasure of watching the first 3 episodes of STARGIRL, and it is fucking amazing. I did a non-spoiler review on my YouTube channel, so if you want to see that in depth, please go over there, youtube.com/JAYWashington80. Please check that out. But I watched it and I loved it. And Jeff Johns is the producer of that. He created Courtney Whitmore. So you're worried that a person who creates the comic character will not, you know, want it to stay exactly the way it is on the pages and not let it translate to television, because everything we see on pages does not automatically translate to the screen. If you took an actual comic book and tried to make or a quick series, just 1 or 2 comic books, just 2 regular comic books, and tried to make a movie out of it, you know the movie is less than 10-15 minutes, period. That's it. But I saw Stargirl, and Stargirl is dope. One of the things I will say that I said on the non-spoiler review, and again, you can check that in full on my YouTube channel, it's shot wonderfully. It's shot cinematically. The shit looked like a movie. Like, that is hella dope to hear, that it looks like a movie. And I, for one, couldn't be more excited about it. So now HBO Max drops on May 27th. They're going to have some DC movies and whatnot, and it's still kind of confusing because they have not absorbed the DC Universe app. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. I mean, I get it. Get as much money as you can, get as much eyes on all the products you have, but you have a site, from which I'm being told, doesn't have the best amount of subscribers that you wanted. So why not alleviate that, absorb it into your main product, and now you can go forward from there and you're good. If I'm wrong, let me know. Just let me know. I mean, it is what it is, but I'm excited for it, so I cannot be mad at it at all. Some other news, speaking of the Green Lantern movie. So a fan went on Twitter, right? And they said they were about, this is what they tweeted. They said Green Lantern is available to rent for 99 cents on Apple TV. It's been 9 years. Should I do it at Van City Rentals, which is Ryan Reynolds on Twitter? Ryan Reynolds responded, walk away. I love it from the bottom of my heart, because he has openly been telling us this movie is shit. He did it in Deadpool. He did it in Deadpool 2. Like, he keeps telling it. And then somebody later tweeted him, said, look, somebody did like your movie, and it is an ugly ass Ford, I think a Ford Escape with a lantern on the back for the license plate. Ryan Reynolds tweeted back and said, that's my car. If you can joke about a bad movie you made, I think that's how you have maturity in the acting world. I've done some movies that I'm not that proud of. And no, it's not Chirac. I love that movie. I think the message was just way over too many people's heads. But I've done a movie or two that I was like, what in the fuck was I doing? So, but I can joke about it and still be like, yeah, you can go check it out if you want to. It's no big deal. But I think that was cool and cute, you know what I'm saying? Because, again, we're all waiting to see what happens with his Deadpool in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. How is that, going to be a thing? Of course, he is still allowed to be the same Deadpool. So which I'm assuming is, in a Deadpool solo film, he's rated R. A Deadpool inclusion into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he's PG-13. Which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that works. Now, I don't really want to harp in the DCEU, the old DCEU. I know. But I saw an article that made me have to bring this up because it was kind of funny to me. So Henry Cavill recently admitted that he was intimidated by Ben Affleck on the set of Batman v Superman. Yeah. This is what he said in an interview with the British magazine Healthy for Men. This is what he said. Quote, like most things, you put yourself at a certain level, and I thought I was in good shape going into that film. Then I met Ben Affleck. What struck me first was how funny he was. But man, was he ripped as well. I've never been the type of guy to get involved in any sort of macho one-upsmanship, but I admit that I was more than a bit intimidated. It gave me the desire to push it a bit more because Ben is really built. The guy is huge. I'm puny by comparison. He is much bigger than I expected. This huge presence and vast physicality. I had to step it up. When you see this mountain of a man walking around on set, you think, I got to get to the gym yesterday. Wow. Now, here's the thing about that. In certain scenes, you can look at Affleck, even when he's just as Bruce Wayne, because let's not go into the suit as Bruce Wayne. You're like, he put on some size. He worked out. Even in that very opening scene you see in Batman v Superman, you're like, okay, he was in a gym. But there had also been reports, of course, of his alcoholism that he was battling, that there was a lot of CGI enhancement applied to his physique, especially during that workout montage right before he was about to put on the armor suit to battle Superman when he made the kryptonite spear. So it's hard to tell fully, but to hear Superman was like, well, goddamn. But also, it makes you realize Ben Affleck is a tall dude. He is a taller dude. I'm not exactly sure how tall is Henry Cavill. Excuse me if you heard that. Let me go ahead and how tall is Henry Cavill? He's 6'1". So Henry Cavill's 6'1", and Ben Affleck is 6'4". So I mean, three inches on him. Yeah, I can see that. I can pretty much see that. But at the same time, you're like, well, damn. I mean, Superman had to get in shape, I guess. And then he got in all that shape to do one more movie and say, fuck it, I'm out. Which he had the right reason to say he out. I mean, he wanted to change the direction of the character. He didn't like Superman being so dark. He wanted more money and a producer credit. And, that's when you put money into this, when you've become the focal point, in a sense, at the time he was, you're like, yo, I earned this. Give me my bread. So I can't be mad at that. All right, I got a couple more DC news stories, and then I'm going to go into some of the DC TV shows, because, yes, they are back. An Amazon spinoff was set to originally be coming off of the Wonder Woman movie. Now, late last year, a rumor was, again, I really am not about rumors, but when people confirm it, like Patty Jenkins, who I'll talk about, it kind of makes it worth talking about. It was a rumor that there was an early development on a Wonder Woman spinoff, which would focus on Diana's fellow Amazonians at the Mascara. And Patty Jenkins has now confirmed that was happening. This is what she said, okay? Quote, I'm not going to nail down a fresh thought about it until this movie comes out, because I want to give myself a palate cleanser and be a fresh mind. Totally explainable. She then said, but yeah, there's an arc that I have in mind for the first movie, and then the second movie, and then the Amazon movie, and then the third movie. She says, I'm not going to direct it, hopefully. I'm going to try really hard not to. It's not going to be easy, but Jeff Johns and I came up with the story, and we sold the pitch, and we're going to get it going. I'll produce it for sure. I am here for it. So we know that this is a 4-story arc with Wonder Woman with Diana. Wonder Woman 84 comes out August 14th this year. That is very, very interesting. I mean, I want to see it. And I also don't blame her for not wanting to direct it. Be a producer. Be a consultant producer. I don't blame it. You already got a lot going on with this character, with these films in itself. You go from 2, you got to get ready for 3. The Amazonian story on Themyscira is somewhat a prequel. Let someone else handle that. Just make sure they, know some of the things you want to do with it. So I don't see anything wrong with it. I do, however, want to see a movie based off solely the Amazonians and Themyscira. Give me Connie Wright again. Give me all those, give me Connie Nielsen, and all them. Give me everybody you had. Robin Wright. Give me Connie Nielsen again. Give me those again in a prequel form. Let me see more of them. And I have no problem with that at all. I think you all would agree with that. And then in my last bit of regular DC news, did you all know that Michael Rosenbaum, Smallville's Lex Luthor, was up for a role in the Suicide Squad? Yeah, the movie that James Gunn made. So he was up for it. And Gunn asked him to do a cameo, but he had to turn it down because he had just had neck surgery. And him doing the role would have been too physical, and he didn't want to jeopardize his neck. But there was a role, and he said he's not going to say what role it was, but he was like, yo, James reached out for him and was like, yo, he, has a role for me. And he said also, quote, it's nice when your friends think of you. It's nice when your friends have a part. And being in the acting world, being in the internet world, being in the stand-up world, pro wrestling world, those are always the best things when you have a friend who's able to do some things and reach back and be like, yo, I got something for you if you're interested in it. And that is something, you can't take for granted. That is something you can't hate on. You want those friends to look back and reach back and give opportunities when it's present. So, hey, I've always said this. I want to be either Quentin Tarantino's next black friend. Granted, he ain't going to do too many more movies. Seth Rogen's second black friend. Just so they can be like, yo, I got this role, you come do all this. And you just come do this in these movies and keep being in these films. I have no problem with it at all. Shit, Adam Sandler. You know what I'm saying? Adam Sandler, let's go. Malcolm Lee, let's go. Spike Lee, I did one Spike. I need to do some more. So I'm cool with it all together. I have zero issue with it. I have zero problems, all right? That's all the news I got. Let's go into the TV shows. Now, I haven't really followed up on Batwoman. I'll be honest. You guys know I haven't. I've tried to. I just can't seem to do it. But one thing that came out in one of the most recent episodes is that you find out that Batman actually killed the Joker in a conversation that Luke Fox was having with Kate. He mentions, do you realize why the Joker hasn't shown his face around for 5 years? He finally went off the deep end, and that's why Bruce supposedly disappeared. That's interesting to know Batman finally killed. I mean, we've always asked that question. Would Batman finally kill the Joker? And in the TV show now, they're basically saying it has happened. So granted, don't expect to see Batman anytime soon. Do not expect that. That is not going to happen. I mean, that character is too much money to just put on screen. We will get a Bruce Wayne, which we got in Titans, but we will not get a Batman. Sorry. I'm just sorry for that one, all right? Legends of Tomorrow. I love Matt Ryan as Constantine. It's great. I've always, knowing the business and knowing the shows, one of the big things that always gets me is that the characters, the superheroes, are not always allowed to be themselves. Now, I get it that there's money in the visual effects, and clearly their visual effects budget is not that much because Nate doesn't become Steel that often. Remember, before Ray left, he was barely being the Atom. Mick Rory as Heatwave, he uses the gun every now and then. Constantine's magic is a thing, but Charlie doesn't shapeshift anymore. She's a shapeshifter that's just in one form. And I get it, but I've always had a love for Legends of Tomorrow because it's one of those shows that doesn't have to have rules. And when I say rules, it doesn't have to have the comic book rules that many people feel like all of the other shows have to adhere to. It doesn't have to have this, this is canon in this approach, and this is canon in this respect, and this regard here, so you got to do all that. Legends is allowed to play with the timeline. It's allowed to be fun. It's allowed to be whimsical and do a bunch of crazy shit, and it's still on the air, so I'm cool with it. But I like where it's going. I think Astra, if you haven't seen the recent episode, Astra is going to become a legend. Because, again, that's the purpose of the show, where crew members can be rotated in and out. Cast members, shall I say, rotated in and out. Now, the trinity of that, if you will, were Brandon Routh, Dominic Purcell, and Katie Lotz. Brandon Routh is gone along with his wife, Courtney Ford. Now you have Dominic Purcell and Katie Lotz. Do you make the other part of the trinity? Do you make it Maisie Richardson Sellers? I think you should, because she's been there pretty much from the beginning. So we'll see how that plays out. I watched The Flash, and first of all, I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts. The Iris in the mirror dimension, the new Mirror Master of Eva McCullough, that's fine. That's fine. I'm fine with you building a new bad guy. I'm totally fine with that. I'm totally fine with us supposedly walking away from blood work, and then in this episode, we bring back fucking blood work. I was so upset. Ramsey Rosso was okay characters. Blood work, I was like, I don't get it. You just put some makeup on him and some lines, and that's it. I understand the character is a CGI vat of blood if you were to do him in its full state. And again, the budgets don't allow for it, but it's just, I don't know. This is just maybe me nitpicking and having a personal preference. Who knows? But nonetheless, we got that. And my biggest gripe of them all has been one of the gripes that I've kept saying throughout the entirety of this show. One of my gripes where I'm like, yo, are you fucking serious? Why don't you wear the suit? I understand the angle of Barry's losing his abilities, but it's like every other episode, we barely get you in the Flash suit, and you're supposed to be the Flash. This is not just about seeing Barry Allen run around by as himself. There's a thing that goes along with wearing the suit that we want to see, and I feel like we're cheated out of it, if you will. I feel like we're cheated out of it. But, I mean, I guess when you're the star of the show, you can do pretty much whatever the fuck you feel. I guess. Make sure you guys are checking out the Harley Quinn reviews that myself and Winston A. Marshall do on my YouTube channel. Again, youtube.com/JAYWashington80. You should have no reason why you have not gone over there right now and subscribed to the channel. There's no reason. So go check it out. Check it out, all right? Now, we're at the point of the show where I get into the calls that I have from the Mad Titan Podcast hotline, and you can get yours in as well, 818-276-6947, 818-276-6947. You can also email me. If you don't like your voice, you're like, I don't know if I want to be heard with my voice. You can email your questions and thoughts, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com. That's madtitanpodcast@gmail.com, all right? I got a question. Got a couple questions of callers and whatnot, and I'm going to get to my first caller right now.
Yo, Jay, what's good? It's your boy Milton from PA. Hit me back up, brother. Supervillain status all day. But real quick, I was just listening to episode 55, and we were talking about how Black Lightning Season 3 dropped on Netflix, and how everybody now thinks it's dope and it's the greatest show ever. So here's the problem. You know, you and I have been rocking Black Lightning since day one. I've been on that show since day one, and so have you for sure, my brother. But that's what's really upsetting about, I think, about how superhero shows, especially shows that are, like, focused on, like, you know, Black America or Black issues of Black culture, like, how people tend to ignore those and they catch up on it later when, you know, let's say the show is canceled or whatnot. Now, luckily for us, Black Lightning is not canceled, but it's still, it's kind of a shame that these shows get ignored or get put on the back burner because people don't want to really ride with the wave and see that, oh my God, Black Lightning is a really good show. It's a very powerful story, good action, a lot of heart, a lot of humor, great music. Like, it's a show that everyone needs to be rocking with. So I'm hoping from this point on, everybody can rock with Black Lightning from season 4 and beyond and get those ratings up, because we need this show to be successful. We need the culture to keep going forward, because we need a show like this that's going to challenge you, make you think. And it's also good to have another balance of this type of show in the Arrow universe. So, listen, man, I appreciate the podcast. What are your thoughts on that? Hit me up. Peace.
All right. Thank you, Milton, for your call as always, man. This was a long one, but it was definitely needed and definitely appreciated. I do agree. We definitely need shows like these in the culture. Now, I'm not saying that we have to take everything that is for us and accept it, because I'd be a hypocrite if I did, because I don't rock with Tyler Perry shows. I don't rock with Tyler Perry films. Granted, there's an audience for it. There's absolutely no audience for it. So that is not on me to decide of what is good and what is not. But however, when you have a show like this that is meant to speak to a lot of issues that our culture deals with in the country today, and you say you want more shows like this, where more and more people are becoming comic book TV show and movie fans. Whether they were fans of it as a kid growing up to whether they just recently got introduced to it, they are now becoming fans. And especially in our culture, when people are like, yo, I want to see more of us. I want to represent us. And it's like, yo, this show has been here. This show is here. So what you're looking for is here, but now all of a sudden you want to go and you want to binge it. Now, granted, yes, it's a great thing they finally did. I just think people should go ahead and watch it when it's out, when it originally comes out, because sometimes, you know, streaming may be too late. Now, we've learned that that's not the case as of recently. So many shows have been canceled and the streaming networks have picked them back up and they've begun to flourish. But they should be appreciated for what they are at the beginning, you know, when they are already there. I mean, Black Lightning has been a show. It has its ups and downs, as does every television show in history. There's never been a television show that has not had a quote-unquote lull. There's never been a television show that's never had people go, I don't know if I'm going to stick around for this. Or I don't know if I'm going to keep watching it. One of the longest running TV shows in history is Saturday Night Live, and it has been threatening cancellation numerous seasons, and yet it has never gone anywhere. When it comes to our shows for Black culture, now, again, I know I got all type of listeners, black, white, red, yellow, purple, green, a bag of Skittles, and in between. All that listening. But the Black culture, we say we want our representation in every aspect, every facet. We don't want characters having to be turned black. We want Black characters. Black Lightning is a Black character from the beginning with a Black family that is going through Black family issues on top of being a superhero family, living in a city that is going through real life issues, even though there's this situation going on. We got to accept that. Well, not even accept it. We got to respect that first and foremost, because that is being presented to us for us. Other people will watch it, and other people will get an understanding. But this is what we want. You get Luke Cage. You know, I feel a certain way about season 2, but nonetheless, it's still a Black superhero show based in Harlem, giving us historical lessons throughout every episode as they did through season 1. And some people actually spurned that. Like, yo, you're learning while you're enjoying. What the fuck is wrong with that? Not a thing. But people are going to be how they are, unfortunately. People are going to have that. But again, like you said, as long as people can sit there and watch it when it originally happens and it originally comes up, like, yo, let's let it go. All right. So, thank you for your call. Again, you guys can get your calls in 818-276-6947. I got an email here. It's from FredTastic314. He says, where's 007? He says, hey, Mr. JW, something popped up in my head when I was watching The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I wondered, which universe would James Bond be in? I'd ask the same question about Shaft, but we see where he is already. Thanks for reading my email and stay strong during the shelter in place. Fred C. P.S. Shaft was one of my favorite movies from last year. Sorry to hear that. I guess I didn't get into as much as I thought I was going to. I was hoping for it. That's a good question. What universe would James Bond be in? Bond would be a DC character. The universe and the world in which Bond lives in seems to lend itself to the DC universe. DC is more dark. It's more dark and grounded somewhat, and a spy like that, I think, would fit perfectly in the DC universe. With the Marvel universe, you would need more of a colorful character as far as bad guys go, and the bad guys in the Bond universe aren't colorful. You know, they may have wacky names or whatnot, but they're not as colorful of characters as the villains are in the Marvel universe. So I think DC would be best. This is a damn good question. This one, I mean, if I, couldn't think about it on the spot, this is something I have to sit back and evaluate. And I'm probably going to post this out on Twitter as well. Thank you, Fred, for this, man. Appreciate you. That was a good ass question. That was really a good ass question. It's like, yo, what universe would Bond be in? And I'm like, shit. Because I wanted to say originally, oh yeah, of course he'd be in Marvel, but he wouldn't. He'd be dead ass in the DC universe. Why? Because he has a gun. Now, I know what you're saying. What, Punisher has a gun, some other superheroes have a gun, but the type of person in which his story lends itself to would be definitely in the DC universe. So, damn, that's a hella good one. Yo, I love it when y'all interact like this and give me stuff that's like, damn, that's so dope. And that's exactly what you did with this, Fred, man. And I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who listens each and every week. Please make sure you rate and review this episode. If you haven't done a rating and a review in a while, please go back. This is how we keep bumping this up, getting it in the algorithm of your favorite podcast player. And so it shows up for more people to find out about it. Again, make sure you are telling me, hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. And let me know, which day do you think is the best day to get this on a weekly basis? I'm going to put that down. I bought a dry erase board. I got cork boards now so I can keep track of things instead of trying to load it all in my brain, which is already fucking overloaded. So I want to do that. So thank you all for the suggestions in advance that you all are going to give. Also, please, if you want to support, as you do, a lot of people support me listening, but if you want to help grow this and continue to support, and I am so grateful for it, please join my Supervillain Squad on Patreon, patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. Like I said earlier, there's been a lot of talk about different things that would have happened with different characters in Avengers Endgame. Let me know if you want a special Patreon episode of that. I will definitely do that for the patrons, but I need to know you guys want to hear it, okay? But speaking of the patrons and members of the squad, shouts out to them: Adalian Chamberlain, Alberto Rios, Akeem J. Brown, AZ Badfish, Blue 87 Jones, Brandon Buckingham, California Joe, Christopher Conley, Kasi Nachalobe, David Adams, DJ Snacks, Fanboy Cantina, Fred Castillo, Greg Morsheek, Hank Staley, Jake Icavetta, James Smart, Jeffrey Jadorn, Jim Mason, John Mariano, LK, Marcus Kennedy, Marcus Burton, Mikey Lito, Paisley Darts, Randy Constance, Rudy Ueda, Samir Tasfai, Steve Tozen, and the Prince that wasn't promised. I am grateful for each and every one of you. I'm going to tell you something. I love saying this long-ass list, and the longer it gets, I will enjoy saying more because that's showing how many people, like, granted, everybody can't, give to the Patreon. I can tell you $5 a month, but if you want to donate more, please do. And I understand the situation in which many people are in right now. But for those who support and say, hey, I just want to show a little love and help you keep going and doing what you're doing, I am so grateful for you all from the bottom of my heart. And again, to each and every one of you, thank you for rocking with your boy. I hope that you all are staying safe. Look, I understand the shelter-in-place, stay-at-home orders from wherever you are very difficult. And it's very easy to say, fuck all this and just go do what you want to do. But in retrospect, think about that before you do it. I'm not going to give you the whole, well, your life can affect my grandmom and all that. I'm not going to do all that because I've learned that for many people, that's reaching too much. What I am going to say is not even just anybody else's, your own. If you know you have the perfect bill of health, and if you get this, you more than likely to knock it out, and you want to take that chance, that's on you. But if you haven't been to a doctor for a physical checkup, your health isn't where it should be. You know it isn't. You know maybe you're not at the stamina what you used to be or things like that. And if you get this, it's going to fuck with you. Stay your ass at home unless you got to go out for essentials. I think that's the best way to put it. I mean, everybody's like, yo, so you don't care about my father, my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather. It's not to sound rude or inconsiderate. You all know I'm always going to be a realist with everything I say. But you're telling me in California, hypothetically, that I have to care about your grandmother in North Dakota. I'm not going to North Dakota. And I know we all are saying people have to be selfless and selfish. And I'm not saying this is being selfish, but it's saying don't put someone thousands of miles away from me on my conscience. Now, if you tell me your grandmother is in the same city and state, then that's a more realistic thing. You get what I'm saying? All that aside, all of y'all, stay safe. I want each and every week to know that not only did you come back to listen to a new episode of the Mad Titan Podcast, you brought more people with you. Not only did you come back and like, yo, you got to listen to dude talk real shit. He not gonna shut it down for anybody and not gonna, baby it up. But I want to know you brought people with you and they all are healthy too and we all rock together. All right? So, I'll holler at you guys next week. Till then, take care. I'm out of here. Bye.